PlayStation 5 is gearing up to close out 2025 with a bang and kick off 2026 with a deluge of amazing games that are already generating hype throughout the community. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why today I bring you the top 10 most anticipated titles for PS5, both in these final days of the year and in the 12 months ahead, packed with surprises. Get ready, because what's coming isn't just any release. It's ambitious projects, vast worlds, stories that promise to leave us breathless, and experiences that could define the next generation. So, if I were you, I'd get comfortable, because we're about to embark on an epic journey through the best that PlayStation 5 has to offer. Resident Evil Requiem is shaping up to be Capcom's new survival horror gem, a title arriving in 2026 on next-gen consoles and PC to remind us why this saga is a pillar of modern horror. In this installment, the franchise returns to its darkest roots, recapturing the psychological terror, constant tension, and vulnerability that made its early games unforgettable, but now powered by an impressive technical presentation thanks to the Rain engine, capable of creating atmospheres that feel as real as they are unsettling. The story transports us to a remote region of Eastern Europe, a place forgotten by time where a rival corporation of Umbrella has begun experiments with a devastating new type of bioweapon. Their two new protagonists, accompanied by some familiar faces from the saga, must venture into a hell of aberrant creatures, abandoned facilities, and buried secrets that point directly to the mysterious Project Requiem. One of the most striking elements is its gameplay, a hybrid of classic and modern. It combines the third-person camera of recent installments with specific fixed camera moments reminiscent of the original titles, creating a unique rhythm that plays with the player's perception. Added to this is a more emotional narrative, moral choices that affect the course of the story, and a sound design that transforms every dark corridor into a latent threat. Everything points to Requiem being one of the most ambitious, mature, and disturbing entries Capcom has ever created for the series. A return to terror in its purest form. Intergalactic. The Heretic Prophet marks Naughty Dog's triumphant return to developing new IPs, a venture that leaves behind contemporary human dramas to plunge us headlong into a colossal science fiction universe set thousands of years in the future. This time, the studio immerses us in a story where the line between myth and technology blurs. The game follows a renegade bounty hunter, a woman haunted by her past, who unwittingly becomes entangled in a silent war between powerful galactic empires. Everything revolves around ancient prophecies that speak of a heretic prophet, a figure who could alter the fate of humanity forever. As the plot unfolds, the protagonist discovers that her role in this conflict is far more profound than she ever imagined. Naughty Dog promises the most ambitious and complex gameplay in its history. Exploration of open planets with living ecosystems, visceral melee combat, precise third-person shooting, and interactive cinematic sequences that look like they came straight from a Hollywood blockbuster. Each planet boasts fully developed cultures, languages, and religions, making every journey feel like discovering a new chapter in a galactic mythology. And, as is customary for the studio, the player's decisions will directly influence the course of the narrative. Visually, the game is a true spectacle. Volumetric lighting that envelopes every environment, advanced physics that bring entire worlds to life, and facial animations that take realism to the next level. Everything points to the Heretic Prophet not just being a new IP. It will be the studio's next great space epic. Phantom Blade Zero, developed by S-Game, is one of those titles that shook the world from its very first trailer. This action RPG combines the frenetic pace of a hack-and-slash with a unique dark fantasy aesthetic known as Kung Fu Punk, a subgenre that fuses Chinese martial arts, archaic technology, and an almost ritualistic mysticism. The result is a visually stunning and narratively enigmatic universe. The protagonist, Soul, is a death row assassin with only 66 days to find a cure for a curse that is consuming him from within. His quest forces him to traverse a corrupt, decadent world teeming with powerful enemies that represent both external forces and demons from his own past. The combat system is one of its pillars, fast, technical, and brutally stylized, with animations inspired by authentic kung fu choreography that make every encounter feel like something out of a martial arts film. The environments, meanwhile, blend beauty and melancholy. Ruined temples, mist-shrouded forests, villages ravaged by corruption. Every corner is brimming with details that evoke an ancient, mysterious culture on the brink of disappearing. With its dark tone, demanding gameplay, and focus on player skill, Phantom Blade Zero aims to become the Sekiro of a new generation, a game that could redefine the genre for years to come. BioShock 4, developed by Cloud Chamber, represents the long-awaited rebirth of one of the most influential franchises in video game history. Although Ken Levine isn't directly involved, the new team has managed to capture that perfect blend of philosophy, unsettling aesthetics, and social commentary that has always defined the series. Everything indicates that we are witnessing a return worthy of the BioShock name. This time, the story takes us to a new utopian city, but not in the depths of the ocean nor suspended in the skies. This time, the adventure unfolds in a floating metropolis between parallel dimensions, a visually extraordinary environment where the laws of physics and reality seem to unfold. Here, themes such as free will, genetic manipulation, and social control once again take center stage, returning to the thematic heart of the franchise. In terms of gameplay, the title combines intense gunfights, free exploration, and a solid narrative component with moral choices that alter the course of the story. Special powers return with new variations that not only expand combat, but also modify how the player interacts with the world. Each ability feels integrated into the level design and opens up strategic possibilities reminiscent of the saga's best moments. And, as expected, every corner is laden with symbolism, political commentary, and a haunting beauty that coexists with the most elegant horror. This duality, the sublime and the grotesque walking side by side, remains the unmistakable hallmark of BioShock, and Cloud Chamber seems determined to take it to a new level. In short, BioShock 4 is not just the return of a legendary franchise. It's the promise of a new utopia, and, as always, its inevitable corruption. Kingdom Hearts 4 marks the return of the legendary Square Enix and Disney franchise, officially opening the new Lost Master Saga story arc after the conclusion of the Dark Seeker saga. This time, Sora awakens in Quadratum, a strikingly realistic world, almost an alternate version of Tokyo, where the rules of magic and reality seem to intertwine in ways he doesn't yet understand. This installment takes a more mature approach, not only in its narrative, but also in its visual style, and the way the characters confront their doubts and fears. The combat is more dynamic, agile, and fluid than ever. The environments are much larger and more detailed, and all of this is powered by the Unreal Engine 5, which represents a huge technical leap for the series. The arrival of new Disney and Pixar worlds is expected, along with a more introspective story that will delve deeper into the identity, purpose, and emotional connections between Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Quadratum, meanwhile, introduces a completely new mystery that could redefine what it means to be a Keyblade wielder. Fans are hoping that Kingdom Hearts 4 will be the turning point that ushers the saga into a new era, an adventure that combines emotion, epic scope, and magic with that unique blend that only Kingdom Hearts knows how to achieve. Mass Effect 4, or whatever it ends up being called, because at the time of recording this video, its name is still tentative, is BioWare's big bet to recover the prestige of a franchise as beloved as it is criticized after the ups and downs of Andromeda. And everything indicates that the studio is determined to return to the roots that made the original trilogy a modern classic. Based on what's been shown so far, this new installment seeks to reconnect with the spirit of the first games. The narrative could pick up after the events of Mass Effect 3, with a galaxy trying to rebuild itself after the devastating events of the Reaper War. Amid this chaos, new threats, old alliances, and decisions with profound consequences will once again shape the fate of entire civilizations. In terms of gameplay, a more open structure is expected, with planet exploration, moral choices with real impact, and revamped tactical combat that blends strategy and pacing in the perfect dose. BioWare promises to recapture the unique balance between action, narrative, and character relationships that define the saga. All of this will be powered by the Unreal Engine 5, enabling a technical achievement worthy of the new generation. More vibrant worlds, more detailed creatures, and cinematic scenes that could rival any science fiction blockbuster. In short, Mass Effect 4 isn't just a return, it's a chance for resurrection. And fans are more than ready to take to the stars again. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic remake, developed by Saber Interactive, represents a reimagining of one of the most influential RPGs in gaming history. Set thousands of years before the events of the films, this title transports us to an era in which Jedi and Sith rule the galaxy, waging wars that shape the fate of countless worlds. The remake promises a complete overhaul, from the graphics to the combat system, adapting it to modern standards without sacrificing the strategic depth and narrative weight that made the original legendary. The story, one of the most beloved and memorable in the Star Wars universe, retains its core themes: identity, redemption, destiny, and the eternal conflict between light and darkness. With new voice acting, enhanced animations, and completely rebuilt environments, Knights of the Old Republic remake seeks to honor BioWare's legacy while introducing this galactic epic to a new generation of players who may never have experienced the impact of the original classic. If everything goes as planned, we are witnessing the rebirth of one of the most iconic stories in the Star Wars universe. Pragmata is one of Capcom's most enigmatic new IPs, a project that has kept the community intrigued since its initial announcement. Set in a dystopian future where humanity has colonized the moon, the game introduces us to a mysterious soldier equipped with advanced technological armor, whose mission is to protect a young girl with inexplicable abilities that seem to defy the laws of physics. The relationship between the two is reminiscent of iconic bonds like Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us, though here it's explored within a pure science fiction setting. The combat is intense, pitting the player against mechanical enemies and unknown threats, all wrapped in an art style that blends realism with touches of surrealism, generating a constant sense of both bewilderment and wonder. The narrative approach is deliberately enigmatic. Capcom has kept most of the plot under wraps, but everything points to a story centered on loss, human identity, and the search for hope amidst a decadent and uncertain future. If one thing is clear, it's that Pragmata doesn't just want to surprise us. It wants to leave us thinking long after we turn off the console. Marvel's Wolverine is undoubtedly one of Insomniac Games' most ambitious projects, and incidentally, it's also my favorite developer of the current generation. After shining with Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, and other impeccable titles, the studio decided to take a bold turn, leaving behind the wall-crawler's heroic and lighthearted tone to embark on a more mature, violent, and far more introspective journey. This time, the studio seeks to explore a side of Logan that has rarely been delved into in video games: his wounded humanity, his accumulated pain, and his eternal internal battle between being a hero or simply a broken man trying to survive his own nature. Unlike the Spider-Man games, the tone here is darker, with moderate graphic violence, heavier dialogue, and a melancholic atmosphere reminiscent of The Last of Us or God of War. Part of the story takes place in Madripoor, a fictional city in the Marvel Universe, known for its corruption, organized crime, underground fights, and a perfect environment for a character like Wolverine. The plot delves into a story of personal revenge that gradually evolves into a journey of redemption. Logan is not your average superhero, and the game makes that abundantly clear from the very first minutes. His decisions are impulsive, his methods brutal, and every scar, physical or emotional, speaks louder than any line of dialogue. He doesn't just fight enemies, he fights against what he is. On the technical side, Insomniac promises to push the PlayStation 5 to its limits. A graphics engine optimized for ray tracing, realistic lighting, dynamic weather, and a physics-based destruction system that will allow you to see how the adamantium claws slice through structures, objects, and enemies with a completely dynamic reaction. The combat will be visceral, tactical, and lethal, featuring hand-drawn animations for different enemy types and a health regeneration system that will force players to carefully consider when to attack and when to retreat. The progression system will allow players to improve their mutant abilities, reflexes, and melee combat techniques, adding depth without sacrificing brutality. As for world design, Wolverine aims to be a game focused on individual storytelling, without multiplayer or an excessively large open world. Instead, it will feature semi-open areas, dense with detail and secrets, where every corner will reveal something about Logan's past, his mistakes, his losses, his demons. Ultimately, Marvel's Wolverine promises to be the video game equivalent of Logan, a raw, emotional, violent, and profoundly human journey into the life of one of Marvel's most complex and tormented characters. A love letter to the hero, and to the man behind the claws. And speaking of long waits, Grand Theft Auto 6 is, without a doubt, the perfect example. More than a decade after the release of GTA 5, Rockstar Games is ready to redefine, once again, what an open-world video game means. Since its official announcement in December 2023, the anticipation has only grown. Everything that for years were leaks, rumors, and theories has finally become a tangible reality. GTA 6 is coming. The story will take us back to Vice City, a modern, vibrant, and expanded version of the Miami-inspired city, now part of a vast fictional state known as Leonida. Gleaming streets, decaying neighborhoods, endless beaches, and danger always lurking. The essence of Vice City is reborn, but on an unprecedented scale. The story will star Lucia and Jason, a pair of criminals trying to survive and make their way in the world of organized crime. Rockstar described its dynamic as a kind of modern-day Bonnie and Clyde, a story marked by loyalty, betrayal, and the desperation to escape poverty in a world ruled by power and corruption. But unlike previous installments, this duo promises a more human narrative, where fear, love, and remorse carry as much weight as action and ambition. Technologically, GTA 6 is a colossal leap. It uses an updated version of the Rage engine, with such an absurd level of detail that even glances, facial micro-expressions, and the way clothing moves in the wind are animated to an almost cinematic degree. The map will be the largest and most dynamic in the series, comprised not
Say my city, baby! My city!
Have daily routines, realistic emotions, natural responses to violence, and behaviors that adapt to the time of day or your actions. Vehicles will feature fully interactive interiors, advanced physics, and a completely redesigned damage system. There will even be dynamic extreme weather, from tropical storms to hurricanes capable of altering entire areas of the map. Narratively, Rockstar wants to recapture the social commentary and satirical tone that has always characterized the franchise, but adapted to modern chaos. Social media, influencers, cryptocurrencies, corrupt corporations, and American politics will be fundamental parts of the story. Alongside the story mode comes GTA Online 2, designed as a living platform with real-time events, constant content, and full integration with the main world. There's even talk that Rockstar could expand Vice City with new regions over the years. In short, Grand Theft Auto 6 is not just a new game. It's the most ambitious project in Rockstar's history, and a work designed to redefine what we understand by open world. Every time Rockstar releases a title, the industry stops, and this time will be no exception. And that concludes my list of the most anticipated games for the rest of 2025 and all of 2026. If you feel I missed any titles, if you change the order of the top picks, or if you simply want to share your own ranking, please leave it in the comments. I love reading your opinions, so I'll be keeping an eye on everything you write.